Welcome back, everyone, to the Bitcoin Business Bureau. I'm your host, as always, LitecoinLeader. Today, I'm going to be talking about a story about sanctions and how Bitcoin and cryptocurrency are helping a particular nation get around those types of things. There's a lot to talk about. There's energy, there's electricity consumption, there's Bitcoin, there's sanctions, there's all this different stuff to talk about. So let's just dive right into it. It's 3 different articles. I will share my screen now. Here we go. There we go. If I lined up right. So first story, Iran, this is from August 10th. Iran makes a $10 million import with crypto, plans widespread use of this by end of September. This is from August 10th. The official did not disclose any details about the crypto that was used for importing the goods involved, but Payman Pak, who is the mine and trade deputy minister of industry, mine and trade for Iran. He didn't offer any details about which crypto was used for the imported goods, but he said that the $10 million order represents the first of many international trades to be settled with crypto, with plans to ramp this up over the next month. He also said by the end of September, the use of cryptocurrencies and smart contracts will be widely used in foreign trade with target countries. Iran was, up until February of this year, that's 2022, just double checking. Yes, it is. Okay. Iran was the most sanctioned country in the world. Iran gets most of its imports from China, the UAE, United Arab Emirates, India, and Turkey, according to Trading Economics. However, Russia now takes the top spot as the most sanctioned nation in the world, following the war in Ukraine. So there's going to be more to talk about that as well. We scroll down a little bit further. Let's see, 2 other articles to talk about as we touch on the different points. This is an article from May, where Iran uses crypto mining to lessen the impact of sanctions. Around 4.5% of all Bitcoin mining now takes place in Iran, according to back in May, allowing the country to earn hundreds of millions of dollars in cryptocurrencies that can be used to buy imports and lessen the impact of sanctions. At its current level of mining, Iran's Bitcoin production would amount to revenues close to $1 billion a year, according to figures from blockchain analytics. And again, this was May pricing of Bitcoin. Scrolling down further, the electricity being used by miners in Iran would require the equivalent of around 10 million barrels of crude oil each year to generate around 4% of total Iran production oil exports in 2020. Now, to put that in perspective, 10 million barrels of oil at about $100 a barrel, it's about $1 billion. Scrolling back up, so they're trading 10 million barrels for, or $1 billion of oil for $1 billion of Bitcoin. So again, sorry for the scroll. As I said earlier, it was $1 billion of Bitcoin in current pricing. So the last thing I'm highlighting here, the Iranian state is therefore effectively selling its energy reserves on the global markets using the Bitcoin mining process to bypass trade embargoes. Actually, it's a little bit different than that. I'll talk about that in a moment. So this is an article that just came out the other day. Iranian businesses get the green light to use crypto for imports. So now the story's coming out that, let's see, again, the trade minister, Iran's Industry, Mines and Trade Ministry, again, talking about this, Trade Minister Amin outlined the regulatory change at an automotive industry exhibit on Sunday. So that just this past Sunday, probably August 20, 26, 27, somewhere in there. Just a week after the country had placed its first ever import order for vehicles. So now we know it's for vehicles to the tune of $10 million using crypto as a payment method. They don't say which cryptocurrency it was, but the story goes on, and Iran has since shifted its attention to adopting cryptocurrencies as a means to address and potentially bypass sanctions for imports. The Iranian Industry, Mines and Trading Ministry granted operating licenses to 30 crypto mining centers in June of 2021 within Iran, and they offered 2,500 more permits for approval and establishment of new mining operations. In the months that followed, so from after June 2021, the government also cracked down on illegal mining operations and even imposed a 3-month ban on mining to alleviate pressure on its national grid. They did it a second time after that as well. So let me drop out of the screen share and just talk for a moment. So there we go. So a lot to unpack in there. First, they are basically taking 4% of their exports of oil, or 10 million barrels, which is roughly $1 billion, and trading that for $1 billion of Bitcoin. So basically, they are converting one asset into another. They are moving their oil into Bitcoin through their and using their excess electrical energy to run miners and convert that, or so the oil helps to run the miners, and then the oil is then available to, or excuse me, then the Bitcoin is now available on the international stage to get around sanctions, because international sanctions really happen within the SWIFT system. So the countries that participate in the SWIFT system, they can't, like, since Iran can't, they can't trade easily with them. But now that Bitcoin is becoming more acceptable on the world stage, they can use that. Secondly, automotive, $10 million. It's a purchase. It's not a big purchase compared to the $1 billion. But the fact that they could buy vehicles and import them to Iran with Bitcoin just shows you that they've now figured out a way to get around sanctions and convert their energy to Bitcoin, which is now acceptable on the world stage, and bring in the stuff that they want. Now, the third thing I want to point out is that like twice now they've had to basically ban mining. Really, it's a moratorium because their electrical grid can't handle it. So now that we are converting electricity, energy, a different form of energy instead of the oil, now we're going to electricity. Electricity is being converted to cryptocurrency through Bitcoin mining. Now we have a different need for the country. The country, rather than like they have certainly in Iran, they have the infrastructure to drill for oil, extract it, put it in barrels, ship it, all that stuff. They've pretty much got that down. They know how to do that. But now they're asking their electrical grid to support all this mining, and it's not there. So they've had to stop the mining because the grid can't support it. Does this sound familiar? Does this sound familiar to what we're seeing in other countries, including ours? Right? If our electrical grid, like if we're trying to go to electric vehicles and mining away from petroleum as the base of our economy to electricity and energy, that's going to tax the electrical grid is not going to be able to support it. They're going to have issues with it. So that's why I know I saw it on Zero Hedge, and I think Economic Ninja was talking about it, that they were asking people to not charge their cars. And that's been, I've seen that story a few times, because the electrical grid, especially in the summer when everybody's running air conditioning, it can't support all the energy demand. So if everybody wants to go green and get electrical vehicles, but the grid can't support it, that's going to be a problem. Just like this is another reason why they're concerned about Bitcoin. But converting energy to a currency that's available and acceptable on the world stage, those economic sanctions have no power anymore. So that really just, not only is the dollar losing value, the SWIFT system is losing value, and sanctions as a result are losing value. So the world currency and the world stage for the dollar is really in decline. And there's just another point of emphasis and further evidence that just belabors that point. So these are the kind of things that we're going to be talking about. You can see it scrolling around here. Economic preppers, with the world is changing dramatically and quickly. And this is just another example involving crypto that shows how we're going from the petro-based dollar system, which is the US dollar. And because everybody back in the 70s had to buy oil from the Saudis with US dollars, that's why everybody had to go get US dollars. Now, if people don't need to do that, countries don't need to do that, they don't need dollars, they can convert their other resources to energy, mine Bitcoin, create Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, and buy what they need and import it, like vehicles or whatever else they want. The dollar system is really pretty much done. So I would love to hear your comments. I would love to see it. And also, I'd love to see it in Texas too, but we'll talk about that another day. But yeah, definitely go check out economicpreppers.com. Tickets are only $197 to attend in Dallas. Lunch is included. We're adding more features. We're talking about that. Patrick and Dylan and I talk every other day about what we can add, and expect more to come. But now that we're in September now, and it's also a great day to join Patreon. I almost forgot to mention that. But being the first of the month, it's the best day of the month to join Patreon. So my Patreon, that's in my description below. It's just LitecoinLeader at patreon.com/LitecoinLeader. There's several tiers there that you can join. The more you pay, you get everything you pay up for, you get everything at the lower level. So there's a $5 level, there's a $20 level, there's a $39 level, and so on. And you just get everything that's beneath. So those are the things that are available right now. Go check it out. Also, you get a lot of good news on my Patreon, even just for $5. And it's just kind of a thank you to me for creating all this content. But I'd really like to see you guys in Texas. Texas, October 8th, Economic Preppers. Economicpreppers.com is the place to get your ticket. Tickets are on sale now for only $197 to attend. We give you lunch. We're probably going to be adding a breakfast option. We're probably going to be adding other things for Friday night and Saturday night. But it's going to be a lot of fun. It's very easy to get to. There's shuttles from the airport right to the Westin Hotel where we're doing the event and back for free. So hope to see you there. I'm going to close the drawer in the bureau, and I'll say follow leader one more time, and I'll talk to you soon. Take care.